like, share and subscribe. The benefits of purchasing blank wedding invitations. Wedding invitations are one of the most important decisions that the bride and groom need to make. Without wedding invitations, then there can be no guests. The bride and groom will have literally thousands of potential invitations to choose from. There are retailers everywhere and each offers different options. One of the most unique options, however, is to purchase blank invitations. This offers the bride and groom many benefits that the pre-printed invitations don't. Blank wedding invitations are perfect for the bride and groom that have a tight budget. These invitations will be much less expensive than those that are pre-printed. The bride and groom can then shop around and find the least expensive place to have the invitations printed, or they may choose to print the wedding invitations on their own printer. These blank invitations can be printed in either an inkjet or laser printer, which offers the bride and groom endless possibilities while maintaining their budget. Another benefit to purchasing blank wedding invitations is time. This is an excellent option for the bride and groom who are planning far ahead and want to have everything purchased and planned early. This will allow them to purchase the wedding invitations without having to have chosen the wording for the invitations yet. This is also an excellent option for the bride and groom who are on a tight timeline. Shipping for blank wedding invitations will be much quicker, and the bride and groom can have them printed out quickly and send them out to guests sooner than pre-printed invitations. Blank wedding invitations also give the bride and groom the opportunity to decide on their wedding invitation wording and make sure it's exactly how they want it. Once they have finalized the wording, they can have the invitations printed. In addition, the bride and groom may choose to personalize their wedding invitations to suit different guests. Every invitation doesn't need to be the same. This allows the bride and groom to be truly creative with their wedding invitations. The designs of blank invitations are just as diverse as those that are pre-printed. This is perfect for the bride and groom who are using their invitations to set the tone of their wedding. An elegant invitation conveys to guests that the event will be formal. Since many couples are choosing special themes for their weddings, this is a great way to incorporate that theme into the wedding. Wedding invitations are not only an important purchase, but it's fun for the bride and groom as well. The couple can hold the wedding invitations in their hands and it makes the entire event seem more real, and that's exciting. It doesn't need to be a stressful decision. Blank wedding invitations offer the bride and groom endless possibilities and benefits. Time and money are both precious commodities, and the bride and groom can making the most of your wedding. The wedding vows. There's no doubt that planning a wedding can be one of the most daunting tasks a person can undergo. Since the majority of the work traditionally falls upon the bride and her family, let's face it, the guys largely just don't care if the flowers are yellow and pink, canary and magenta, or goldenrod and cherry. It's always a good idea to have the assistance of a professional wedding planner, or at least a trusted friend or relative, to help keep all of the details in order. That assistant can take care of everything from ordering the cake to making sure the reception seating arrangement is in order and Uncle Herbert is as far from the bar as possible, while Aunt Helen and Aunt Gertrude won't come in contact with one another at all. One thing that will be entirely up to the happy couple, however, is the decision on the wedding vows. This is one aspect of the event that the groom will have to participate in as well. The traditional wedding vows are immortal and familiar to us all. We've all heard the phrase to love, honor and cherish a million times before, and regardless of race, religion or nationality, we all immediately associate these words with the marriage ceremony. There's nothing wrong with that. The traditional wedding vows are powerful words of love and commitment, and if you like those vows and they hold a special place in your heart, then you should feel free to include them in your wedding ceremony. Many couples write their own wedding vows. The practice is now so common that original wedding vows have almost replaced the traditional vows as the norm for weddings, but that doesn't mean that the time-honored vows are any less meaningful. For those that do wish to write their own wedding vows, the options are limitless. Some couples pen their wedding vows completely from their hearts and minds, using this portion of the wedding ceremony as an opportunity to express their love and devotion to one another in a very personal way. Others borrow literary quotes, song lyrics, poetry, or other non-original material that expresses their feelings for their beloved to incorporate into their wedding vows. Anything that says how you feel is acceptable. A young spouse-to-be may sometimes experience writer's block when composing the wedding vows. This stems from anticipation of the pending event and is perfectly natural. The best way to overcome this anxiety is to slow down, close your eyes, and think about your fiancé. Imagine what you would say if he or she were right in front of you with number one around. Find the best way to tell that person how you feel, how deep your love is, and what you promise to do and be as a husband or a wife. The words will come in no time, and the result will be a beautiful wedding ceremony that's highlighted by beautiful and personal wedding vows. Stuck writing your vows? Read through these sample wedding vows. Are you getting married soon and need to write your wedding vows? Can't think of the right words to say or use? Do you need some sample wedding vows to jumpstart your thinking? Hey, we know what you're going through, so relax a little bit and check out these sample vows you can use for your wedding. Now keep in mind that there are differing vows for each religion. Also, these are not set in stone and can be changed around to your liking or combined with other vows. The choice is yours, just remember to check with your officiant before totally committing to whatever vow you choose. Especially if you're getting married in a church or synagogue, they probably have set standards on what's acceptable. Common sample wedding vow. I, bride or groom, take thee, bride or groom, to be my lawfully wedded wife or husband, to have and to hold from this day on, for better or for worse, for richer or for poorer, in sickness or health, to love and to cherish, till death do us part. Roman Catholic sample wedding vow. I, bride or groom, take you, bride or groom, to be my wife or husband. I promise to be true to you in good times and in bad, in sickness and in health. I will love you and honor you for all the days of my life. Muslim sample wedding vow. I pledge in sincerity and honesty to be for you a faithful and obedient bride or groom. I hope that some of these wedding vow samples have eased your mind somewhat and maybe even given you a few ideas to use for your own vows. Theses samples are just that, samples. It's your wedding and you can do whatever you want. If you're the more creative type, you may want to consider writing your own vows. It's really not all that hard and can add a very personal touch to your wedding vows. Making a wedding speech. Sooner or later, at some point in your life, you may be called upon to speak at someone's wedding. Perhaps you'll be the proud father of the bride or someone's best man. Whatever the case may be, it can be a good idea to know how to make the appropriate wedding speech. Some people may think these points are obvious, but they're not the ones that are giving the speech. If you are not much for public speaking, you may find these tips helpful if you ever have to speak at someone's wedding. Keep it short. The worst part of any wedding celebration is when some long-winded buffoon drones on and on during his opportunity to make a wedding speech. Number one wants to listen to your ramblings 40 minutes, no matter how interesting you may think they are. People are at the wedding to share in the couple's joy and have a good time. Number one will be able to do either if you talk for too great a length of time. Try to keep your speech under 5 minutes long if possible. Save the jokes for Henny Youngman. Public speakers often like to try and break the ice with a joke. Have you ever noticed that? Have you also noticed that the jokes are usually bad? These people have professional speech writers working for them. You don't. Unless you are truly a funny person, your name is Robin Williams, for example. Steer clear of the jokes. If you do have to make jokes during your wedding speech, try to make them appropriate for the occasion. Jokes about weddings in general or the people in attendance will always work better than jokes of the "a guy walks into a bar" variety. Also remember that jokes at the groom's expense are funny while those at the bride's expense are not. That's just the way it's. Sentimentality works. People get all warm, fuzzy and gushy at weddings. Sharing sentimental stories about the couple and how in love they're about your own wedding or any other appropriately smarmy topic will have the meeting out of your hand. Make the focus of your wedding speech the subject of love and roses and good feelings and puppies, and you can't go wrong. This day is not about you. This is perhaps the most important thing to keep in mind when preparing and making a wedding speech. No matter how popular you are, number one is there to see you. The wedding day is all about the bride and groom. This is their day in the sun, so to speak. Keep your stories and anecdotes focused on the happy couple so that they can stay that way while you are speaking. Keeping these topics in mind will help you be successful when making a wedding speech. With the right ideas and a minimal amount of preparation, even the most tongue-tangled individual can come off like the great orator at least for 5 minutes or so when speaking at a wedding. Romantic proposal ideas for Mr. Nervous. Are you looking for a romantic way to propose to your beloved but you just don't have any good ideas of your own? Fear not, Mr. Nervous, because this article is full of romantic proposal ideas that are sure to make her happy. Ideas range from the simplistic to extremely dramatic, but they're all great ways to pop the big question. Here's the first romantic proposal idea we have to offer. Rent out a limousine for the night and have the limo pick her up at work or at home. When she steps inside the limo, you'll be waiting inside. Have the limo drive the two of you to an exquisite restaurant that you know she'll love. Choose a special place because you want her to remember this night forever. On your way home in the limo, pull out the ring and ask the big question. A more theatrical proposal idea: arrange to meet her at a park that happens to be close to riding stables. Rent a horse at the stables in advance and rent a knight's armor from a costume shop. On your way to the park, stop at the stable, put on the armor and ride the horse to her. With a booming dramatic voice, offer to be her knight in shining armor. Present the ring on a bent knee and make your big proposal. To add extra dramatic flair, arrange for someone to play classical music in the background, perhaps something by Wagner or Holst. More dramatic and romantic proposal ideas: make a date to go to the movies and rent an elaborate ad for your proposal at your favorite theater. If possible, arrange it so that you can have a part of the theater all to yourselves. When the ad displays, pop out the ring and make your big proposal. Or if you are both sports fans, arrange to attend a game and have your proposal spelled out in big letters on the presentation box. Make sure you've the engagement ring handy, as the timing should be perfect. Yet another romantic proposal idea: take her to a park, beach, or other outside area for a romantic picnic. Arrange to have an airplane write your proposal in the sky as you are dining. As soon as the message appears, whip out your ring and ask her to be yours. If the previous proposal ideas aren't exactly your style, try a more private yet still romantic proposal idea: cook an elaborate dinner for two, preferably one of her favorite meals. Set up an elegant candlelight table and pour champagne for the both of you. Instead of making the usual toast before drinking from your glass, surprise her with a marriage proposal. With a little thought and planning, your romantic proposal is sure to make her feel special and create a memory you'll both remember for a lifetime. Say your own wedding vows, spoken words you want to hear. How to make your wedding special and unique is not a hard to do. All you've to remember is by doing it all your own way, then you have accomplished just that. In today's society, many couples are conducting their wedding plans accordingly to the book and taking ideas from how others have planned their weddings. Don't expect a unique wedding service by copying. Originality prevails in your own creative thoughts. A sure way of bringing a touch of uniqueness to the ceremony is to personalize your wedding vows. You need to allow the vow to say what you really feel. Tradition had it that at most weddings couples had no say on the matter of what words were spoken at the altar, but today that has all changed. If your desire is to make your wedding vows unique, then you've to incorporate your own personal feelings and emotions into the vows. Without doubt, by doing it this way, you've given yourself a unique wedding service and at the same time gained the attention of all the guests who have now realized that your wedding is different from the traditional ones they may have attended in the past. To carry out your wishes, speak with the officiator ahead of time and let them know of your decision to personalize your wedding vows. Legalities will come into force when writing your own wedding vows. There will be parts that the law states have to be cited. Solemn words with meaning and heartfelt messages will make all the difference to your wedding vows. Remember, the reciting of the vows should not take too long, so limit what you've to say. You've a lifetime together to tell your partner of any omitted loving words you would have liked to have said on the day. After carefully piecing together those special vows you wish to exchange, then it's time to consult the officiator once again so they can go over your written words with you. Advice given by this official should be wisely taken in because of any regrets you may have later down the line. Rehearse and practice your vows before the wedding. There's no set ruling against reading vows, but if you want this part of the wedding to be remembered for a long time to come, then you need to get it right. It can be a nerve-wracking experience for some when it comes to exchanging vows, so try relaxation techniques when practicing. By keeping calm, you can eliminate the tense feeling inside which can contribute to blunders being made. Relax and loosen up and don't worry about forgetting your lines. A good idea is for you to have the wedding vows written down if memory is never at its best at times like this. May the sweet words you speak be cherished by one another. If you want your marriage to last forever, then you've to write the vows for your husband. This way you're guaranteed he will say what it's you want to hear. Free wedding vows allow the vow to say what you feel. Wedding vows that come from the heart sends all the right signals in the right direction. Vows have always been a strong tradition upheld at wedding ceremonies. Promises dedicating a lifetime commitment to each other is a lovely way of saying I will love you till my dying day. The exchange of a marriage vow usually include pledges like being faithful, also directing their unconditional love for the partner. Are you contemplating personalizing your own wedding vows and not sure who to turn to for advice? Then go online and click Wedding Vows for assistance in gathering more information. Free wedding vows can have an effect on the way traditional ceremonies are carried out at weddings. Good news on free wedding vows off the internet. Besides being free, is you're in control of the choice of words for your service, thus allowing you to say what it is you want to say and mean it. Free sample vows are there for modification if needed. By altering the words of traditional vows read out at a wedding gives you the opportunity to say that on this special day you did it your way. There are vows specially devised for second marriages and couples with ready-made families. Worth considering is a piece of poetry which is a common practice when pledging vows. Poetical words come from within. Good advice for the couple is to sit down in private and talk things through before making any decisions on the changes they want made to their wedding plans. This way, when both are agreed, you've the happy couple before the wedding and an even happier couple after the exchange of vow, all because the words spoken showered your loved one with what they wanted to hear. The secret behind a good wedding vow is that the words should fill the air with love and affection. Nothing can compete and never will with a genuine heartfelt promise to cherish forever. Infinity together forever if the words spoken are to mean what you really feel. Free best man speech. Free best man speech are starting in the new life as a family, a way of finding the eternal happiness in a world of changes. Every wedding toast should be associated to wedding speeches, but those are important only if those who say them are honest. So never forget that I say this now here because my heart is, and it always be close to the bride and groom. With this marriage a new step in life is made and a goal is achieved, so let the journey begins. Following the greatest destiny of humankind in a permanent pursuit of true love that's beyond anything and anybody, we finally decide that perfection is only a dream, generally speaking, but a true fact when we are referring to the one we love. Sometimes I ask myself if love really exists, but I look around and I see the smiles of kids and do realize that we all have a half soul, and finding it is the true challenge of life. It's not important to make money or to spend money to travel or to explore the wonders of world if you're doing it alone, because the way to heavens can't be touched alone in a world of temptations and incertitude. Only heart has the power to choose before mind to say yes or no, I do or I don't, and because any island of happiness is surrounded by high mountains, peaks, love is surrounded with incertitude. But when I look at the bride and groom, I see that only true love exists in a pure form, a ray of light born in the first day of holy world when night was separated by day, and a fragment of that initial light was lost somewhere in their souls. My friend, we gathered here to see how love exists, and I'm glad to see that it does. A true love story is now reality just because they were able to find each other in a world where the only constant thing is the change itself. The bride is a star that has fallen out from the skies because she was more beautiful than any angel, and she was sent on the earth because of the envy of the others angels, and the groom is the knight in shiny armor sent to protect her in this dangerous world where anything can be transformed into a menace. They have found their soulmates and are now ready to start a new journey together like a family in order to overcome all the issues and problems of daily life. One for all and all for one, fighting with destiny to obtain the greatest gift called happiness. Will they succeed? Where's love is anything, and together nothing is impossible because love is greater than anything in this world of illusions. Together for a lifetime they'll find themselves and one each other, they'll learn what honor and respect are, and God Almighty will take care of their life. Now raise the glass and say after me. I'll live my life, I'll love my God, I'll be with you forever here in your heart, so love yourself and love the other because we are human, all each other, so find yourself and find the love. I wish you all to have a life full of dreams and to survive forever. Long live the bride and groom, long live their marriage, like a house made of stone, like a true love made of pure feelings. In a world of change only love remains the same. Long live my friends. Free wedding vows, samples available online. Free wedding vows are available on a number of websites providing wedding-related information. If you don't want to do an endless search on the web to find samples to use for your own wedding, then here are a few sites you can visit immediately and read a few now. Classic traditional wedding vows. elegantvows.com provides 5 free wedding vow samples on its website. Their samples include the modern and the traditional, the religious and the non-religious. According to their site, you can use their sample vows as is. Alternatively, you can change any of them by removing the lines from one vow and replacing it with another. For a small fee, you can purchase their entire collection of 20 wedding vows. They advise you to let your minister or officiator your wedding know about the vows you have chosen. The one who will officiate your wedding will tell you if your vows are acceptable and what must be included in the vows. Modern contemporary wedding vows. Another online resource with over 24 free wedding vows to choose from is on about.com. Just like elegantvows.com, there are traditional and non-traditional religious and secular versions. However, the about.com samples are shorter in length. About.com also provides tips on how to personalize your vows. You can use their tips to make these free wedding vows unique. They will help you brainstorm original ideas for writing your own vows or modifying the sample vows you like. On about.com you can read a funny wedding vow written in the style of a Dr. Seuss rhyme. If you and your partner want a light-hearted and entertaining wedding vow, then it may give you some ideas for writing your own. Unique wedding chapel ceremony website. Next, you may want to visit foothillchapel.com. It's the website for a real wedding chapel. They offer their wedding services for couples who want their ceremonies performed in a chapel. The site lists their services and fees. You can get a general idea of what a chapel wedding will be like just by reading the information on their site. Foothillchapel.com provides something unique for couples searching for free wedding vows. They have an audio recording of a wedding ceremony. You can play it to get an idea of what a wedding ceremony sounds like. Don't know what wedding flowers to choose? Here are some tips. Flowers, herbs and spices have long been used as a symbol to unite and protect a new union. Garlic and onions were thought to protect newlyweds from evil and were often included as an integral part of the ceremony. White garlands were worn to show innocence and chastity, but the language of flowers didn't arrive to Europe until the early 1700s. The universal flower for weddings is most definitely the rose. White or red are the most common. It was proclaimed by Venus, the Roman goddess of love, that the red rose was the most beautiful of all flowers. So it came to be that the red rose represented true love. When you're choosing the flowers for your wedding, there are several things to take into account. 1. First of all, it's your wedding and should emulate your personality and be the theme for the ceremony and reception. It shouldn't be what your mother always wanted or your bridesmaid's favorite flowers. It's about what you want. Point 2. Look at a lot of photographs of wedding flowers and bouquets. You need to get familiar with flowers, styles and colors. The internet is an awesome tool for that. It used to be that you'd have to go to a florist to do this, and you may still want to, but fortunately there are a lot more options. 3. As you browse through the pages, start with style first. Do you like the bouquets that, along with ivy and ribbons, may be compact and round, exotic, possibly long flowers that you carry on your arm almost like carrying a baby? The reason I suggest style first is because certain flowers are suited to each style. 4. Remember, large bouquets can be very heavy, and if you've a small frame, then you may want to reconsider a large bouquet. I have done bridal bouquets that have weighed as much as 30 to 40 pounds. 5. Once you've decided on a style, then it can be determined what flowers and colors you would like. Sometimes you get lucky and see a bouquet and that's exactly the one you want. But don't be afraid to get creative. The fragrance would be heavenly. 6. You can also choose flowers for their meanings. Here are some of the more common flowers used in weddings. I once did a wedding where the bride, who married on Valentine's Day, chose a round red bouquet for herself, and the bridesmaids wore white and red dresses, so we made half the bouquet red and the other half white roses. At the reception, the bouquets were then placed in red vases and served as flowers for the head table. 7. If you want fragrant flowers, then I would go with white Casablanca or stargazer lilies, hyacinth, tuberoses and gardenias. Red rose, true love. White rose, innocence and purity, I'm worthy of you. White carnation, fascination, love of a woman. White lily, purity, heavenly. Calla lily, beauty. Red tulips, declaration of love. It was very effective. You can be as creative as you want. 8. If you are on a severe budget, then you may want to consider doing simple bouquets on your own. It's not that difficult to do. Example: take a dozen or more tulips and stagger them slightly so that the heads are not all together. Take the first tulip in your hand, place the next one so that the tulip head is now about 2 or 3 inches lower, and so on. Take the ribbon of your choice and tie them together. Make a simple bow and there you've it. You can also do this style effectively with calla lilies, gladiolas and blue delphinium. If you want to save a lot of money, then this can be an alternative for you. Regardless of the size and budget of your wedding, just remember this is your day. Do it the way you want to and have fun doing it. Baby's breath, pure of heart. Blue violet, faithfulness. Hyacinth, loveliness. Iris, warmth and affection. Daisy, innocence. Ivy, eternal love and fidelity. Giving a best man speech. During the wedding reception, the best man often serves as the master of ceremonies. He typically starts the toasts by raising his glass in a salute to the couple. At some weddings, his best man speech may be the only toast. As honorary MC, the best man is supposed to give a pleasant and sincere message. That means creating a tribute to the couple that includes both wit and sentiment. Here are a few tips on how to give a best man speech. Speaking tips. Stand up before you begin speaking. Planning what you want to say in advance. Unless you give speeches all the time, don't do it off the top of your head. Rehearse your best man speech a few times before the wedding. If you are concerned you might forget what you wanted to say, write at least a few key phrases from your best man speech on a small note card. Put it in your pocket and refer to it as needed. While you and the groom may have a history together that includes some heavy-duty partying, this is not the time to talk about it. A personal story about a shared experience with the couple, perhaps including something humorous, is appropriate. If you can't come up with an anecdote, mention a favorite quote or song lyric that will convey something meaningful about the couple. Remember that the wedding isn't about you, it's about the couple. You'll only lose the guests' attention if you talk on and on. This is a time when brevity is best, so limit your best man speech to a maximum of 3 minutes. Sample best man jokes and one-liners. Again, it's important to keep any jokes you tell during your best man speech within the bounds of good taste. Here's a basic standard to follow. If you would not be comfortable telling the joke to your grandmother, leave it out. The groom is your friend and you want that friendship to continue after the wedding. Saying anything rude or crude might make that impossible. The trouble with being the best man at a wedding is that you never get to prove it. Marriage is based on the theory that when a man discovers a particular brand of beer exactly to his taste, he should at once throw in his job and go to work in the brewery. George Nathan. I can honestly say that in all the years I've known Joe, number one has ever questioned his intelligence. In fact, I've never heard anyone even mention it. Let me not to the marriage of true minds admit impediments. William Shakespeare. You've to kiss a lot of frogs before you find a prince. A good marriage is like a casserole. Only those responsible for it really know what's in it. Be tolerant of the human race. Your whole family belongs to it, as does some of your spouse's family. It's not as great a day for the bride as she thinks. She's not marrying the best man. We always believe our first love is our last and our last love our first. Here's to Benjamin, a man who keeps his head though he loses his heart. What can you say about a man who came from nowhere and is now rising to the top of his profession based solely on intelligence, hard work and willpower? A man who's distinguishing himself among his colleagues who say nothing but good about him. Well, that's enough about me. Today I'm here to talk about Howard. We come to love not by finding a perfect person but by learning to see an imperfect person perfectly. Love looks not with the eyes but with the mind. William Shakespeare. Marriage is popular because it combines the maximum of temptation with the maximum of opportunity. George Bernard Shaw. Marriage resembles a pair of shears so joined that they can't be separated, often moving in opposite directions yet always punishing anyone who comes between them. Sydney Smith. Keep your eyes wide open before marriage and half shut afterwards. Benjamin Franklin. Who being loved is poor. Oscar Wilde. Free wedding speeches, tips and advice. Statistics have shown that more people are afraid of public speaking than they are of more common fears, and it's indeed a very fearful act speaking in public. Anything you say can't be taken back, and if you say something bad you'll get foot and mouth disease. But does looking for free speeches on the net really help? Most of the time you'll find some cheap tips on how to make the perfect speech or how to say it. Or maybe you'll be lucky enough to find one that's already made and you'll just have to print it. But these speeches tend to be rather impersonal and very general, and if you're the best man, you'll probably just end up boring your friends and family. When making speeches, the simpler the better. You won't have to depend on free wedding speeches off the net if you've memories of your friends. What you're asked to do on a wedding toast is to tell the people something about your friends, the ones getting married, how they were meant for each other, and how you wish them happiness for the rest of their lives. You don't need a factory-made winding speech. All you need is memories and your genuine care for your loved ones. If you're still having the jiggly stomach about giving your speech, you can follow these free wedding speech tips. They may not be ready-made, but they'll surely help. Forget the preaching, go on with the memories. Most people give winding speeches because they tend to give unasked advice. Leave that to the marriage counselor or the pastor. Just give them memories. Most couples appreciate the nostalgia of a few well-chosen memories. Find a funny or a touching memory you've of the couple and share it with the room, plus a few well wishes, and you're done. Go for short but effective rather than long and winding. Many of us know that a long speech is very boring. You don't want to dull the night with your talks of your childhood and your games with your friend. A biography is for a book, 2 or 4 memories are for a wedding. Write a poem. You may say that poems are for sissies, but that depends on every person's point of view. But a wedding is a very emotional moment, and it's sure that everyone is in the mood for a little emotion and tears, and what more to provoke those dams to flow than a few well-said lines in the form of a poem. Don't forget to introduce yourself. A simple Jade has been my friend since high school, and I've never seen her gaga over any guy other than Andrew. Make a basis for what you're saying, especially if you're talking about moments in the newlywed's life. If it was a trial, you're the witness and you'll need credibility. Just imagine, would people feel your speech if they don't know who the heck you're? A wedding you won't forget. The wedding. It's one of the most joyous and torturous events you'll ever face. It absolutely amazes me what we humans put ourselves through just to create that perfect celebration of love. The planning of a typical wedding is very difficult. I should know because I'm planning my own right now. There's so much that needs to be done, and there never seems to be enough time. I've talked with literally hundreds of people who have gone through the planning of a wedding, and I've found that it's the little things that cause all the stress. It's easy to plan for the obvious, but the minute details can drive you insane. One of the most overlooked details of a wedding is what I think one of the most important details. It's making your wedding special for your guests. You see, it's easy to forget that the wedding is not just for you and your future spouse. It's also for everyone who attends your wedding. It's very important you don't forget about all the people who are special to you and who will be traveling from all over to be with you on your special day. Picture this: the lights dim. A hush falls over the crowd. A slideshow video starts playing on the screen at the front of the room, and it tells a story. What is this story, you ask? It's a love story. It's the story of you. It's the story of your future partner. It's the story of both of you. It's pictures of you both from birth to present, arranged with text, your special music, and just about anything you want to use to entertain your guests. It will leave your guests with a smile on their faces and tears in their eyes. Most engaged couples I've spoken with love the idea of having a slideshow video in their wedding. The problem is that they think it's either very difficult or incredibly expensive. Neither of those assumptions is correct. It's actually very easy to have one made. As a matter of fact, there are several companies online that will make a video for you. Obviously, I'm biased because I think our company is the best, but I'll give you some things to look for when shopping for a slideshow video production company. Price. You've to be very careful here. Many companies advertise great prices, but they don't tell you about all the hidden costs. For example, Company X may say that they only charge $99 for a video, but if you read the fine print, they charge an additional $2 per photo for scanning and another $1 for each picture enhancement. Once the video is complete, they will charge you another $50 just to preview it. So this $99 video just turned into a $500 video. Previewing. Most places will not let you preview the video, or if they do allow it, they will charge extra to preview it. It's absolutely critical that you preview any slideshow video before you buy it. Previewing the slideshow video allows you to make sure you like all the titling, screen transitions, and photo arrangement. You want the video to be exactly the way you want it. Montage. Montage videos are what I refer to as a tech head's video dream. They involve constant panning back and forth and zooming in and out. They also feature fancy-looking screen transitions where the pictures will do flips and spins and all sorts of other cool things. Now these montages may look high-tech, but they're completely inappropriate for a wedding. A wedding slideshow video needs to be classy and tasteful. It doesn't need spins and twist flips and twirls. It needs to have clean, smooth transitions. They need to flow from one picture to the next with elegance and grace. Remember, you want your wedding to be special. You want your guests to remember your wedding with fondness. You want it to be an unforgettable experience. What better way than with a slideshow video that features your life up to that point? I hope your wedding is the best that has ever occurred. Besides mine, that is. I hope you decide to engage your guests by showing a beautiful, romantic slideshow video at the beginning of your ceremony. May you have the best of weddings, and don't forget to have fun. Best man wedding speech tips. Delivering a perfect best man wedding speech is a challenging responsibility for many men. While developing such a best man speech, one of the main dilemmas many best men face is to decide on whether to crack everyone up or to keep it safe and serious. There are many people who are not good in public speaking, and doing so make them nervous. And if such people were asked to be the best man or the maid of honor at the wedding, she may panic. But is it such as a big job to deliver a speech to the public? No, you can also deliver a great speech you're fearing as you haven't tried to deliver one before. What you need to do to give a good speech at the wedding is some preparation and be aware of the subject you're going to talk about. If you're well aware of the topic, you can easily give a great wedding speech. Here, best man wedding speech, and keep the interest of your audience. This article tries to help you in this regard, and here are a few tips that could aid one to prepare a best man wedding speech. Prepare yourself about what you're going to say. Take your time to think about what you want others to know about the groom and the bride and what you wish them for their future. It's always a good idea to write it out. It's not necessary for you to carry the written point to the wedding, but writing is always appreciated as it will help you to remember and note the points once more. Identify yourself and your relationship with the groom and bride. This is quite important as everyone will not be aware of who you're. Speak clearly, slowly and loud enough that everyone need to hear what you're speaking. Start your speech by thanking the parents of groom and bride if they have paid for the event. If the groom and bride are footing the bill themselves, don't forget to thank them for organizing such an event and inviting everyone to share the occasion. It's also a good idea to tell a story, funny one-liner or a joke, or use an inspirational quote. Let your guard down. It's okay to show your emotions. This is one of your good friend's wedding, if not your best friend's. It's even okay to cry or becoming emotional. Keep your best man wedding speech short, to say 5 to 10 minutes. Finally, end the speech with a message of hope and congratulate the proud groom and blushing bride. Nowadays there are several websites which offers free best man speech with good examples of wedding speeches given by a friend or a relative, and of course you'll find humorous free speeches also. Most websites also offer some of the classic short wedding toasts, touching wedding toasts, and humorous wedding toasts you can find if you look around a bit. Terms and conditions. Legal notice. The publisher has strived to be as accurate and complete as possible in the creation of this report, notwithstanding the fact that he does not warrant or represent at any time that the contents within are accurate due to the rapidly changing nature of the Internet. While all attempts have been made to verify information provided in this publication, the publisher assumes no responsibility for errors, omissions, or contrary interpretation of the subject matter herein. Any perceived slights of specific persons, peoples, or organizations are unintentional. In practical advice books, like anything else in life, there are no guarantees of income made. Readers are cautioned to rely on their own judgment about their individual circumstances to act accordingly. This book is not intended for use as a source of legal, business, accounting, or financial advice. All readers are advised to seek services of competent professionals in legal, business, accounting, and finance fields. You are encouraged to print this book for easy reading. Don't leave before you press like button below and subscribe to this channel. As a subscriber, you will receive a new notifications every time a new video is uploaded. Good luck. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe before you leave.